We are back. It's time for the S&P. Before we get into it, though, let's talk about the news that's coming up. Monday is supposed to be an absolute snoozer, and we got implied volatilities coming in around 5%, which means that the options market is not planning on much of a move at all. We don't really have any red tag news to speak of either, so it might be a rough day for traders. Maybe it's a good day to sleep in. And then Tuesday, we actually have a little red tag news in the morning, core retail sales. And so we might get a little movement in the morning, but ultimately what the market is waiting for is Jerome on Wednesday. They're going to lower rates. The real question is do they do it by a half a point and we moon, or do we do it by a quarter of a point? And the market has essentially already priced that in. I think the real question is going to be, really, is it going to be a half a point? And what is he going to say around it that is really is the important part. So we know we're pointed up, and we know it's going to take a lot for us to break our bullish structure. Even a massive sell-off right now would still keep us fairly bullish on the high time frame. And it would be quite welcome, to be frank. We really need to pull back so we can buy some levels up here. I mean, we're cruising 6,600 on Friday. Unbelievable. So Thursday, we have unemployment claims in the morning. That could actually help give us a little bit more move from Wednesday's FOMC. And then Friday's dead. So it'll be interesting to see what happens Friday. So that's it for the news. And let's get right into the SPX first. Got some SPX guys in the room. So I want to talk about this. It also has nice confluence with the ES. And so let's get into it. So as we can see here, the weekly time frame, we are just cruising up. I mean, this is just unbelievable, the action that we've had lately. My biggest issue right now, guys, is we do not have a whole lot of stuff that is untested. There is a little bit, and ES actually looks a little bit better. But I mean, we're a good 100 points from the first untested level on ES. So looking at SPX from a weekly perspective, 6401.50 is my first untested level. That is 184 points from my current location. That is up there. And then way down here, we have our current leg in at 62.38. So it goes like this, bang. There you go. There's our leg, essentially. It's actually right here, and then it goes like that. But whatever. You guys get the point. 64.01 is our first untested, and then 62.38 is our next one. And so we need to be watching for all that jazz. All right? Let's get down on the daily and get into it. So here we go. So this is our weekly daily. We're not really going to go much lower than this. Currently, right now, we have an untested daily at 65.29. Actually, let me double check and make sure. Yeah, okay. All right, yeah, 65.29 is our first untested daily level on SPX. It's a good spot. This is our first sell-off last Friday for what it was like 100 points or something. This is our first leg down, and now it's untested from the top down. Certainly a good spot for us to look for a buy. The next spot that we're looking at is 64.77. Not my perfect spot, but it was the previous leg high. It actually got a smack here, as you can see. And so it might play again when we come this way. Now, we know last week that 64.45 weekly was a monster. They tapped it and ran. Actually, maybe it was 2 weeks ago. They tapped it and ran, really kind of propelled us all the way up. We actually have an untested daily level right here at 64.35.50. If they sweep below the 64.45 weekly and play the 35 daily and regain, this puppy could really run. But at the end of the day, the leg end, the ultimate really good trade here is located at 64.01. This was in our plan for last week. If they come down here and they play this, we have 64.01.50 weekly daily, and we also have 63.95 daily. Both of these are excellent. It's a very nice zone. It also runs with the weekly at 63.97.69 from the left. Like this spot a lot. And so let's back out a little bit. And if they lose this spot, if they lose 63.97, we could essentially come down here and play the next big untested level at 62.38. This is our true main weekly leg up. As you guys can see, and I'll just draw this from a simplicity's sake, this is essentially our sub leg right here for the way up. This is the entire leg. And so this is the best risk to reward ratio down here, and probably the biggest trade on the map. But we really don't want to see it break the 64.01. That's what we're looking at. And as long as we stay above the 65.29, this will probably wait for a while. But we will see what happens. So I'm going to break it down in the 4 hour just real fast, because I had some 4-hour levels that lined up here. That's what I wanted to show you here. 65.29 actually has a nice 4-hour leg here, and so I like this spot. This is a great spot to buy. Other than that, really, it's that 64.35 and ultimately 64.01. Those are my favorite spots. Again, the 64.77 could play. We just want to see it get back above the 4-hour, 64.38, and essentially 64.93 before we really get a lot of confidence in that. But again, I like this spot at 65.29. So that's enough SPX. Let's get into ES right now. So here we go with the ES charts, guys. And first and foremost, I always start with the weekly TPO. I think this is super important. I noticed some really important confluence here that you guys really need to take note of. First and foremost, we have a bullish imbalance up to 66.34. You see this profile down here? We are this value area low. We got one. Up here we don't. Okay, so this is a market inefficiency. It will need to be fixed at some point. I don't know when, but if they do, that's going to be our upside target on the bullish imbalance. The NQ did that on Friday. It was a great example for everyone who wasn't sure what that was. But here is what I wanted to show you, which is really important. Do you see these gaps in here? Look at this. And this is not a true gap, but this is really thin volume as they pushed up. These are basically air pockets. This is a really important support, which we'll talk about when we get to the candle. It's actually 83. If they move below 83, it's a significant 4-hour. They can literally come all the way down to 58. And 58 is our previous, let's see, it's another 4-hour at 54. That was the 4-hour that we had to pop to move higher. And again, I'll show you all this on the candlestick charts, but this is just nothing but air. And we have singles down at 62 in the weekly. And so, there's a lot of reasons to believe this inefficiency will get cleaned up. Now, are they going to come down here first? I don't know, right? We never really know. All we can do is understand what levels they want to play. Now, the other thing is if they come down in here, we actually have another air pocket down here, a big one. And to be quite frank, if you look at these stacked blocks right here around 17, that is the daily that I have been after for so long, guys. And I'll show you on the chart. It actually looks really good. And more importantly, where it actually begins is this 35 area, and 33.50 is our significant daily. So, this all lines up with these are really big support levels that we have here. And it's funny because, you can look at the TPO and it lines up with our process. It's pretty cool. So it just kind of shows you where we need to be eyeing and what markets or what part of the market is inefficient and go from there. So let's get into the daily and the weekly chart real fast and knock this thing out. So here's what we're looking at. We've got this 65.33 daily, told you guys. And really right now as we're cruising up here, there is no upside targets. And there is no untested daily support really until that one I was telling you about, 16.75. This is a juicy spot. Our first target, and this is not normally something that I would be looking for, but our first target, if we start to push down, needs to be 65, 65, or 65, 62. These are the previous wicks of this all-time high area. And if you recall, those are the singles in our weekly profile. Look at that, 62. Lines up perfect, okay? There's a reason that all this, I keep showing you guys this. There's a reason for all this shit. So that's it, all right? Now, we have this big monster daily down here that is going to be really important for us to get above or below. We need to monitor this context, the 33. Excuse me, right here, the 33. Below this will definitely take us down to 17, okay? 65, 16, 75, definitely going to happen. I like this level a lot. I can't emphasize it enough, okay? We also have a 4-hour below that at 08. You guys know I've been frothing over that for a while. It's kind of a big deal. Now, if that doesn't hold, because we never know with FOMC, anything's possible. If they move below this area, we've got this really significant daily at 64.89, clearly tested multiple times, okay? And, with that being said, you can see that if we get below that, it's very important. The next untested support, 64.46.75. What I like about this area is we have another daily at 64.50 that actually played for a monster pop. And if we sweep this 64.50 and regain this little wick here and above this daily, so this thing could just monster squeeze, right? So pay attention to this area. I like that, all right? The other one that I really like down here, we obviously have the 64.13. We were all over that. And then we have the 63.98.25. So again, all good spots. Now, these are all contained within this leg here. And this is, we could come all the way down here and we're still super bullish on the weekly. That's how insane this thing is, right? This is right down here. Like, this is not, I mean, from a high time frame perspective, we're so high up that we can come down 500 points and still be bullish on the weekly time frame. That's how ridiculous this is. So, you know, I guess what I'm telling you guys is be prepared for anything. You know, if the market sells off 100, 200, 300 points, don't freak out. This is still a buy the dip moment, right? So all we know is that we have untested high time frame levels, and that's what we're focusing on. The first one that's of key importance is 65, 16, 75, and then the ones I showed you lower, okay? So that's how it looks on the daily time frame. That's how it looks on the weekly time frame. You know, we need to keep this level in mind for sure. This is the weekly level at 65.25. This is a huge pivot for us. Don't forget, we've got these, you know, dailies down here at 64.13. If they play this and they hold, we want to see it get above 25, and then above 31, and that's how we're going to know we're starting to accept, and we're going to, you know, get it back above other high time frame levels, and then we can kind of just let it go. So that's how that works. All right, so let's go over and get into the 4 hour. Get this show on the road. So here we go. Actually, it looks a lot better than NQ. I just put out a weekly outlook on NQ. NQ doesn't have much for support. It looks scary. At least this thing has some areas to buy. So this is a very tested 4 hour right here, 65.83. This is going to be really important for us to get above or below. And if you guys recall, guess what? That's where these blocks start. That's where the air pocket starts, 65.80. Boy, I wonder why that, okay. All right, so let me just show you. Let me turn this on. You see this yellow block? Move underneath this 4 hour, we start to fill this in. And where does it bring us? It brings us right down into our 54 area. Also very tested, but very important, okay? So this is our next level of support. Basically under 83 brings us to 54, but 54 is also tested, right? So I don't have anything in here that's untested, honestly, until we get down to the 07. And if you recall, I liked the daily at 17. And so I told you there's a 4 hour down here. So here's the daily at 17 or 16.75, and here's the 4 hour. So you can clearly see that if they start to move down and they get below the 54, you know, our first, you know, we have this daily at 33 that we have to watch, which is clearly important as they held it and moved up, but move below that, and look, we have another thin pocket. You see this thin? And this is a yellow box that comes right down in here. So here's our yellow boxes, right? It comes right down in here to 17. Let's pull this back over. Right down in here to 17. Okay, so all this makes sense, right? You just have to put all the pieces of the puzzle together, all right? So I'm going to take this back off. So we have 17, and then really we have, from the 4 hour perspective, we have 07. Amazing 4 hour leg. Love this spot, okay? Love it. And 07, 08, I would look for it to get back 13 and just get balls long, especially if it gets above 65.22. This is our pivot here. What I was actually using this for, the 22, is if 17 plays, or the 16.75, and gets back above 22, I'm adding into this trade. I will probably rest small at 17, wait for acceptance above 22, and then add into it. If it doesn't, I'll buy again at 08 or 07.75, whatever you want to call it. When we get back above the 17, the daily, I'll add in again, right? And then when I know it gets above 22, then I'm gold, right? And I got to take some profits at the daily at 65.33. Have to. It just have to. It just has to work out like that, okay? So below this, guys, below this, here's the next spot. I'm going to keep this on here so you can see these areas. So first and foremost, let me take that off real fast. So we have this 4 hour at 64.83. We tried to get to this last week a couple times. Guys in the room were like, oh, are we going to get there? I'm like, I don't know. If they do, I want to buy it, right? So here we go, 64.8925. That's our wick. That's our acceptance play on this. If we play 64.83, 50, you get back above 89, just market smash this thing. That's a good one. It's a really good one. And what I like really well about it is there's a daily level at 64.8950. We talked about it right here. It was the one that was double tapped on the way down, right? And so you know if you get back above that, here's the double tap. This thing's going to run. So again, if we play that level, and get back above this swing pivot, which is also this daily, look out. She's going to go, okay? Let me take those back off. And then really the next levels that we have lower, I like this level too. We tried to get down here too. Oh my God, I forgot about this one. All right, 64.40, 64.45, 75. awesome 4-hour leg in. Love this. Again, another great spot. What I like about this too is, if you recall, I said we have a daily at 64.46.75. We have a 4-hour at 64.45.75. And then we also have this 4-hour at 64.40. This is a 7-point zone of buying, okay? And if you see, we have this 64.52 wick. I even have it marked. Watch for failed breakdown, because there is that sub leg. Remember me telling you the sub leg at 50. I showed you guys this on the daily chart. If we play this area and get back above 52, you market smash this thing and you take it all the way back to 83, and then we want to see it get back above 89, and yada 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 yada. Okay, so that's that. That's how that works. Now, last but not least, and we're going to stop at this leg right here. So right here we have a daily at 64.13.25 and a 4-hour at 64.12. This is truly kind of our leg here. This is this main leg up. Let me look at this monster, right? And so this support is coming from the left as well. So we have a big daily to the left, big 4-hour that clearly played right here from the bottom up. And now we have this support here. We also have that daily at 63.89. Let's not forget this, right? So this is the area that we're talking about, guys. 13 and 98, excuse me, 63.98.25. So 13 and 98. So when you look at it on the 4-hour, when you bring it over, what are we looking at, right? This is where it starts from the left, and there it is. And then here's our other leg in at 98. Both of these are bangers. Both of these are buys. If 13 plays, you want to see it get above 25. Remember 25 weekly I told you, remember? That's why. 25 and 31. Back above these are huge acceptance, okay? And now you play 98 or the 92 4-hour, 63.92.25 or 63.98.25. You want to get back above 13, right? You get back above 13, you know your gold, at least until 25. You buy above 25, you buy above 31, you set your stops below and you let it go, because this is the leg end and this has the opportunity to actually retrace all this. Now, will it? I don't know, but that's how the legs work. If you come to a leg and it holds, that's what it does. Okay, so I'm going to leave you guys with that. I'm going to stop there because that is, it's almost 200 points from here. I think that'll do us. And then, you know, I showed you on the higher time frame that we have some levels that are way down here. Even to just back you up on the daily here. You know, your next untested daily is the 62.68. It lines up with SPX perfect, but ultimately what you want to see is this leg hold, because if not, then we got some serious problems and some things to get over. But the bullish move is not over, especially on the weekly time frame. So that's where we're going to end it, guys. I hope you guys have had a great weekend, and I'll see you guys on Monday. Cheers.